they're slick, they're tricky, and you know, they everything they do is up tempo. So I mean, not necessarily always up tempo from the standpoint of you don't have a lot of time to get the plays in or whatnot, but they do everything, you know, between the snap fast, and you know, between the whistles they do it fast, and they vary their tempo, which can be tougher than just being up tempo.
As a follow-up to that, Josh wasn't playing much, but he's giving you a few snaps. Without him now, what's the burden on you, Brandon, and Michael?
Well, there's just less of a safety net. You know, it sucks for Josh because Josh is learning and he's very talented, and those snaps are important. But you know, it is what it is. I mean, we can all, if asked to, play a lot more. So you know, you get nicked up, you can't necessarily come out. That's the difference.
So a game like last week when you had 99 total snaps on defense,
yeah.
What was the next day like for the defense?
I mean, I can't speak for anybody else. It's Mondays are never awesome.
Okay.
So, you know, yeah.
They play basically 11 the whole game. They don't really do a lot of subbing. Does that make it even more difficult because...
Well, it makes it tricky, but their 11 can look like a lot of different stuff, which is even...
as far as when they're...
Yeah, I mean, they're slick that way. Yeah. I mean, McVay's man, what a bright coach.
Yeah.
And their offense is reflective of that. And they just, you know, they're very talented, but they're also just very efficient with the talent that they have. They do a great job with it.
How do you guys deal with it as far as being ready? I mean, like a ball goes out of bounds, you got to be ready to.
It just depends on picking your spots to sub. It really does, you know, and that can rely on a whole host of factors that I wouldn't necessarily like tell you guys right now. But I mean, no offense, because they watch the news too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you're trying to sub, it's predicated on a couple of different things.
Chris, it's been a frustrating, obviously, season for you guys. Tons of injuries, and you know the last few days, you know, losing the Cowboys game in overtime, and the Carson stuff. You guys obviously have a big game to play for. You're still alive mathematically and stuff like that. How do you guys stay up and stay locked in and not get, you know, too up and get too down in a sense with potentially losing the quarterback and everything else in the games? And
we just do things the same way we've done it, you know, at least since I've been here. We just keep getting up and keep swinging, and you know, nothing's going to be perfect in this league. Obviously, we've had our share of things that we could point to and be like, well, that's why we're in the hole we're in right now, and some of it's out of our control, some of it's in our control, but you have to just get up and control the things you can control, and at the end of the day, you know, that's going out and playing our best game of the year against probably the best team we played all year, if not one of the best. So it's exciting. It should be exciting for everybody in this locker room, and knowing that we're still in it. I mean, all things considered, just shows you how crazy this league is. And really what's happened in the past doesn't matter. What happens from here on out, it's all on the table, and we still feel like we're just as dangerous as anybody. And some people might look at us as crazy, but if we said, you know, hey, we're shot, we're not very good, like y'all would look at us sideways. You know, it's our job to think we can go out and beat anybody, and we feel that way, and we're going to need to play our best game.
Chris, you spent 2 years with Aaron Donald. What about him can like you appreciate that someone who only watches him on TV can?
I appreciate. Well, shoot, I mean, you're talking to. I'm one of the biggest AD fans there is, because I saw him when he was a rookie, and he was about as good as anybody in the league as a rookie. And I'm talking about when he showed up to camp. You know, a lot of younger guys, you're like, well, let me help you with this, that, or and you're learning from him. You know, he's doing things that vets instinctively aren't able to do. He's studying film. You know, I used to be in the building late and go in and watch film when everybody was home, and I'd walk into the D-line room, and he was always in there using the film. Like, he's the only guy left in the building. And I'm like, here's a guy who's just got here. He's got all these talents, and he's working harder than anybody in the building. And I think that's what is going to make him sustainably as good as he is for his entire career. And that's why I think it's good for the game having players like that.
As someone who knows the league, what was your reaction when you heard Sue was coming to play next to him?
I mean, it's great, and Sue's been a great player in this league for a long time. Aaron Donald, you know, he's the straw that stirs the drink there. So, you know, it's nice having good players around him, but I'm pretty sure if he was just out there I mean, he still caused some problems no matter who was there.
Chris, when you take a look at the film from the Rams-Bears game from Monday night, what can you say about the pressure that the Bears were able to get onto Jared Goff, and how important is that for you guys to try to emulate that?
Well, it's really important, and we got to do it in our own way. I mean, obviously they're very multiple, and they do in Chicago. They do a lot of different things, and they got some versatile guys, and their defense has been really disruptive for a couple years now. And then adding Khalil is really on tape. It's pretty awesome to watch, but. That's the formula. I mean, it's a formula against any good quarterback. I don't know a quarterback that likes getting hit. And, Goff, as tough as he is, he's a very tough player. That's one thing about him. He can take a hit, but nobody likes it.
Does that still feel like your former team, or because it's a different city, new coaching staff?
It's where I played, almost all my career. So, unless I play another 8 years somewhere, that's where I spent most of my career. So,
but that they're in Los Angeles now, it doesn't change that.
That's going down a whole nother road. But I mean, I did spend a lot of time there. Yeah. So the guys that are still there, the few guys that are still there that I know are still good buddies, and I'm happy for them. But we got to go. We got to go to battle on Sunday.
Are there things you can take out of the game last year, just all the adversity you overcame that can kind of help you going like this week?
No, nothing that's happened last year will give us anything for this year.
What's your level of confidence in Nick? Should he be starting on Sunday?
Oh, Nick's a Super Bowl MVP. He'll be all right.
Now, we dealt with their hurry up last year, their tempo. How difficult is it as far as dealing with it, especially since they change it up? I mean, they get you to the line. They don't necessarily always snap it.
Yeah. I mean, they do a good job of really creating things that seem challenging with tempo. They'll use their tight ends as receivers. Every guy will run the same routes from different spots. So their route concepts are the same, but the players are interchangeable. So you really don't get too many tips off of formations and personnel. Don't give you a lot of time to communicate, so you can't be overcomplicated on defense. And then they got a running back who's one of the top running backs in the league. That if you happen to be out of your gap just a little bit, he's through your defense. So it presents a challenge and something that we struggled with a little bit last year until we kind of got settled down. So obviously learned a lot from that.
Given the new guys you have, it's kind of back to the keep it simple method of communicating.
Well, I mean, you can't be too simple. I mean, we do got to compete. So it's one of those things we got to prepare, figure out what we can handle. But at the end of the day, yeah, we do need something that we can execute, even with tempo, and quick counts and all that thing.
There's been times you're like the only guy over 24 out there in the secondary. How is that? I mean, I think you guys have used 9 different cornerbacks, 24 and younger. How does that add to your responsibilities? I mean, obviously these guys don't have a lot of experience, so you have to do more. How much of a change is that?
I mean, I don't know, not much of a change. My role in defense is still the same. I think that the emphasis just becomes more so on communication, getting guys lined up, what we do during the week, our preparation, so that I'm not making all the calls, that guys are, making calls. So Cre'Von LeBlanc's done a good job coming at the nickel. He runs the nickel spot, so he's making calls in that area. Corey Graham's done a good job. Trey Sullivan, we put a lot of, responsibility on as he's gotten more and more experience at the safety position. So that has allowed my role to stay the same because guys have stepped up in that manner.
Does it feel different going to LA this year than it did last year?
Yeah, he had a lot more wins last year.
Yeah. But how does that change things? How does it make it different?
It may change nothing when it comes to what happens once the whistle's blown. But maybe your mood going into the game is a little different.
Malcolm, you talk about mood. It's obviously been a frustrating season. It's been a frustrating few days. What happened with the Dallas Cowboys, and then the Carson thing pops up. As a leader on this team, how do you make sure that everyone stays locked in? As you guys have still a lot to play for, and things are still alive for you.
I think as a leader, the way you keep guys locked in is you stay locked in. So nothing's different to me. We got an opportunity to go compete against a really good team. Got an opportunity to get a win with our dreams very much still alive. And that's all you can ask for. That's all we want.
Mentally, how difficult is it to stay locked in?
It's not. You get a paycheck every week to show up and do a job. So we're here doing a job.
How tough are the Rams? It probably goes without saying, but I mean, they've been one of the most explosive teams in the league, and they're still going even though they're coming off of that loss.
Yeah, I mean they got weapons all over the place. A quarterback that's having a hell of a season, top running backs in the league. Young coach who's innovative and creative, knows how to put them in positions to do things. They create, some difficult situations with tempo. They use the same personnel pretty much every down and distance, but they use their players interchangeably, so you don't get too many tips off of formation and things like that. So you really got to be able to line up, put your eyes in the right place, and be disciplined every single snap. And when you don't, they take advantage of it with big plays, whether it's through the running back or with the ball in the air.
There's been so many injuries on this team. You've been around a long time. You've been on a team where there's like 12 guys on IR, and then more guys even banged up that aren't on IR. You've been around a team that's been kind of this hurt?
No, I haven't, but at the end of the day, we still got to go play a game. So that's something that we can't really waste time focusing on.
You're in a stretch of facing a lot of really elite running backs, from AP and Saquon and Zeke, and now
it's the NFL.
What sets Gurley apart as far as skill set and his strengths?
I mean, I think he's right at the top of you look at what do you want out of your running back? Vision, he's got it. Speed, breakaway speed, he can hit home runs. You want to be able to churn out tough runs. He can put his head down and get those 3-4 yard runs that when nothing's there. He's jumping over guys, stiff arming, spinning, juking. He has all the moves in the open field to be elusive. He's solid in protection. I mean, he's everything that you want in a running back. Durable. He's healthy. At the top.
Based on what you were saying, that the hype is real with McVay. I mean, you can kind of feel that as a defensive player.
I mean, yeah. We had a chance to play against it last year, but I mean, their record and what they're doing week in and week out, I think is evidence enough that it's working.
Yeah. In what ways do you feel it, though? And what ways is he stressing you, I guess, as a defender?
Well, I think they just do a good job of, like I said, they're interchanging between tempo, snap counts changing, the route concepts, although they might be the same. You got different players, their receivers are lining up all different places, tight ends are lining up all over the place. So you're getting different people doing different things. Can't really get a beat on what they're doing. But if you look at the teams that have had success, it all started with stopping the run. You stop the run and then you get an opportunity to rush the quarterback, then, like anything else, a lot of those things break down and they don't have the opportunity to take advantage of, some of the things that they may see on tape. So for us, we got to be able to make sure we limit that run, especially early in the game, get into some third and longs where we feel like we can allow our D-line and our front to make some plays.
Malcolm, I think you played, 111 snaps last week. At this point in your career, what have you learned are the keys to recovery during the week after a game like that?
I've never played that many snaps in my career, so I don't really have the manual for it. I'm actually still trying to figure that out. But, at this point, win the coin toss is how you stop that. But, at this point, everybody's kind of banged up. Everybody's tired, but, this is when you need your best ball. So, everything you can do to get your body right, you do. And you guys are holding me up from the hot tub right now.
What do you think that does to help relieve any kind of uncertainty about, making a potential quarterback change at this point of the year?
Obviously, we have a lot of confidence in Nick. We know he's played a lot of football. The city's aware of that, and in this locker room, we're aware of that.
Jordan Matthews was just saying that anytime you have an injury like that, whether it's a core or a back, anywhere in the middle, that's the toughest kind of thing to play with. Do you feel like that's kind of affected Carson more than maybe most people know this year?
Well, I'm not a doctor. I don't know any of those things. At the end of the day, I know how tough a football player he is, and I know how much he loves the game. So at the end of the day, it's serious enough that I think that he got to figure it out.
Could it explain his slow starts?
That's not something I can comment on. At the end of the day, I want him to be healthy so he can play his best football, and from there on out.
Carson is such a competitor. I'm curious, as a teammate, what have you seen from him battling through this season so far?
Just a guy that, won't be denied at the end of the day, because no matter how he feels, whether it's a serious, not serious, at the end of the day, at the quarterback position, you take a lot of hits, you get banged up, and just to see him always get up and just keep on playing the next play, it's definitely, something that I have a lot of respect for him for how he does that.
Nelson, it's obviously been a frustrating season for you guys, tons of injuries. You guys lose in overtime to the Cowboys with everything on the line, then the Carson thing this week. You guys still have a big game to play for and still are alive here. How do you make sure you guys don't get kind of, I don't want to say bummed out, but for lack of better words, but stay up and stay ready as you guys really have a must-win here?
Because this league, it's going to make sure that we don't do that, because at any given point in the NFL, people get beat and you get opportunities to do something truly special. We got opportunities Sunday in LA to do something truly special. We have a lot of respect for the Rams, but we know that an opportunity like this to continue to keep us alive and to keep our dreams alive is in front of us.
Hey, Nelson, you've had a lot of good catches in your career. That 3rd and 8 catch in Los Angeles last year, where does that rank in terms of kind of the significance?
It was special because it was in the Coliseum. That was one of the things really special about it. And also the situation. I think it was also special because it kind of like defined, my mentality, as a football player. Like, because the same concept I ran before, early in the game, versus that same coverage, it ended up being tipped and it was an interception early in the game. That could have changed the whole game. So seeing that same, coverage and same scenario, I was able to grow from my mistake in the past. And that's what I took from that. I was really proud of that moment. It was a very teachable moment to be resilient and to also, learn on the run.
How about the situation that the team was in there? I mean, that was really Nick's first drive. You're trying to hang on to win.
Oh, yeah, 100%, But myself and Alshon, we talked, and Torrey, we said, look, man, you got to make every play you possibly can to help Nick be himself and feel comfortable. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about you having your QB back. He give you opportunities, you make plays. And that's what we do.
How much do you feel for Carson? Whether he's done for the rest of the year, whether he's not. What he went through last year, battling back, coming back, leading this team. You've had your injuries. Every guy in here has had injuries. How much do you feel for him for coming back and then now dealing with the back thing?
At the end of the day, injuries are terrible. One thing I know about him is he ain't done. He won't be denied. And if it is something serious, which I don't know nothing about, then at the end of the day, all he gonna do is bounce back, because that's what kind of guy he is, and that's what I'm rooting for. And if he is playing and all that, it just goes in to show you what kind of guy he is, a straight competitor. So I got a lot of respect for him. Obviously, what happened in the past with his knee, he bounced back, man. It's all a part of, the plans of the world, and, and he's ready for whatever comes his way. And as somebody that watches him, I respect how he handles all adversity.
Nick is obviously no stranger to being a leader from this team. I'm curious, what has he been like the past few days at practice, possibly stepping into a bigger role again?
Man, he's just been himself. He's been Nick Foles, having a lot of fun. He throws the ball, and he just, communicates. And like I said, just like in the past, we had his back. He gave us opportunities. We got to do the same thing.
But no, I know enough about Carson, obviously, to know that, he'll play through anything. Tough guy. We knew he was dealing with something, obviously. But it does surprise you that he's willing to play through anything like that, for his teammates. Everybody here thinks highly of him. And so we just want the guy to get better, obviously. And we're here for him for whatever the process looks like. We all don't know, obviously. But at the same time, whatever that process looks like for him to get better, we want to be there for him. So, yeah.
How was his demeanor today at practice? And I know he was out there doing a couple of things, jogging around. But,
yeah. No, it's good. It's good. No, Carson always, he's going to handle it like a champ. You got to understand, this is like, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and he's the best young quarterback in the league. I think, hands down, he was even playing at a high level with what he was dealing with. And I don't know if you know, like, going through reads, it helps to have a healthy back. So he was still going out there and producing at a high level with the injury. So I think, obviously, with his situation right now, sitting down, I don't think it's affected his confidence at all. He knows who he is. He knows what he brings to the table. He knows what he means to his team. It just sucks that he can't play right now. So, but he's still out there communicating. We're talking on the sidelines in between periods. So, like I said, he's still the same guy, great teammate that he always is.
It's been an emotional kind of few days here where you guys lose a big game in Dallas.
Yeah.
Carson stuff comes out.
Yeah.
You guys are still technically alive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very, very slim chances. But how much of an emotional week, few days has this been as you guys are really still trying to fight for your lives here?
Yeah, it's awesome to have a chance. I mean, that's the best thing. I mean, there's still a lot of energy in practice. Everybody's still flying around. Everybody's well aware that if we have to handle, obviously, that if the chips fall in a certain way, that we could definitely get a chance to be in the tournament. So I think just that alone, everybody here is competitive. So if you give guys a chance, that's going to come to the top. Like, everybody's going to go out there and compete. Everybody's going to try and put their best foot forward. So that's what you're seeing in practice. Nobody's hanging their heads. Nobody is worried about what happened in Dallas. We competed in Dallas. I think everybody knows that. Everybody brought their A game. We just got to go out and try and bring our A game again versus a really good team in LA.
Jordan, you had a sense that Carson was affected by the bat?
I mean, of course. I mean, you got to be somewhat affected. You know, I think you can just look at a quarterback position. You're going through reads. You have to be able to twist. You got to be able to turn. Carson's probably the best quarterback throwing also on the run. So if that affects your running too, he's wearing knee brace. This guy's playing through a lot, you know what I'm saying? And so do I think it affected him? Of course. Do I know exactly how? I'm not going to speculate on that. But what I'm definitely saying is he's still 20-something touchdowns, less than 10 interceptions. That's still high-level production with an injury. So obviously,
were you guys aware that, were you aware that it was hindering him a little bit?
I mean, I'm like one of his best friends. Of course I know something's affecting him. Yeah, of course.
It's been a while since you've called passes from Nick, right?
Yeah.
In a game.
Yeah.
So how's practice been with him this week?
Yeah, he's been great. You know, Nick obviously has been still working with the scout team. I actually go work with the scout team all the time. So I've been running routes for the defense. So me and Nick have been having reps with each other in practice the entire time. So our timing's still really good. Obviously, played with him my first stint here. And so yeah, I think everybody has confidence, obviously, in what Nick can do. And I'm probably one of those guys that has a high level of confidence in what Nick can do.
Do you get a sense that he best for him to just shut it down 100%, not play the rest of the season because he's a franchise quarterback, needs to be able to lead this team for a long time, and
Well, I think I can't speculate on that. I think ultimately Carson's going to know what's best for Carson. I think that's what should definitely happen. Like, Carson should be able to speak for himself, and Carson should be able to figure out what he wants to do and what's best for him. He's played his body longer than anybody else in the world, so let's let him choose. But I think either way, obviously I know the guy is going to be fine. He's one of the toughest competitors out there, so if he chooses to go that way, I know he'll be fine. And if he does have to shut down, whatever the case may be, like you said, he's the best young quarterback in the game. Like, he's going to be playing for the next 20-something years balling. So whatever situation he decides to do, I'm going to fully support him. I think everybody else will. Philadelphia's lucky to have him.
Jordan, Nick is obviously a leader on this team.
Yeah.
We saw Super Bowl last year. What has his demeanor been like at practice? How is he stepping into that specific leadership role?
Yeah, Nick's very consistent, obviously. I mean, I think everybody's kind of seeing kind of what Nick obviously brought to the table last year, and what he brought to the table. I mean, like, I remember when he got hurt my rookie year, and then before the offseason he got traded, he was 6-2 that year. I mean, he was 6-2 before he got hurt. This is a guy who's always been extremely productive, especially when he's around a group of guys that he feels comfortable with. So he's himself. He's always going to be, friendly with everybody, calm demeanor, very poised. And then he just goes out there and does his job. Still got a cannon, so he can go out there and sling it. So like I said, everybody has a high level of confidence in him. He's going to go out there and do fine.
You also spoke a couple weeks ago about you looked at quarterbacks like Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr that went through big injuries, and they kind of had the benefit of the doubt coming back.
Yes.
And you feel like Carson maybe hasn't had that.
No. Yeah, I don't think he has, as much, just because, I mean, as great as Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota have played for their teams and were those years before, they weren't MVP stats. Like, Carson was going to win the MVP, and so I think that or also people say, okay, they think it's just going to snap back into it, but that's extremely hard to do. I think people should also understand too is, like, when you go through when you go into off season, if you're healthy, there's a long period of time where you don't do anything, and then when you start doing stuff, it's like active recovery. Well, when you're rehabbing, you never really stop. it's always constant. We got to build the muscle in this area. We got to get this stronger. We got to get this stronger. So when you're doing those things for, especially like a knee, that's when other things can be affected too. So he's been grinding for a whole year, you know, but that's his mindset. When everybody else was resting, this guy was preparing for week 1. And so I think that when that happens, other things get affected. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So for people to think, okay, now we just expect this, you know, I think you just got to say, okay, tone it down. He's still the best in the game, but understand he's still human. And like I said, I just can't wait for, obviously, him to, you know, however this finishes out, him to be able to finish it out, for him to get healthy and then go do what he's going to do for the rest of his career.
Hey, Jordan, the way that the whole deal is set up is that, you know, teams don't want to put out public information about a player's health because they're trying to get a competitive advantage. And so people on the outside don't really have access to that information when evaluating players. I'm just curious what that's like as as an athlete.
I know fantasy football owners hate it. I think they're the main ones at the top of the list. I know for a fact too, and I will side with coaches on this. You know, it's like, why talk about an injury if you're going to get the answer on Sunday? You know, I mean, because we can do a million interviews, but I can literally every time say you'll get your answer Sunday. What's going to happen? In 5 days, you'll know everything we're asking today. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's also another reason why people are like, why even bother with it? But as far as competitive advantage, I've heard of tons of teams that have like their whole team on the injury report. Because if somebody says, oh, this guy's ankle's hurt, he's a receiver, and his ankle's fine, but your cornerback lets up, then there's a competitive advantage. So I think there's definitely a little bit of that maybe goes on. But at the same time, like I said, we always should prepare. Like, if you're on the field, we treat you like you're 100%.